We are racing into the holidays and the last Kentucky Derby points race of the year. Oh my God. Really? We are racing into the holidays and the last Kentucky Derby points race of the year. It's the Gunrunner, a mile and a 16th on the dirt at the fairgrounds in New Orleans. Yes, I have a little visitor here. This is my son's cat, Doja Cat. Now here are our Kentucky Derby points leaders to date, and we have 11 horses with 10 or more points, and the top 3, all Bob Baffert horses. Now, the Gunrunner may be a newbie in the road to the Kentucky Derby, but it does give 10 points to the winner and has produced some horses that I think we all know, including one that I would really like to forget, and that is the 2022 long shot, Rich Strike. Let me tell you about my story about Rich Strike. So I was at the 2022 Kentucky Derby. I was alive in the pick 5 to like 12 horses. How could I lose? Then Rich Strike crossed the finish line and I was like, there's a 21 horse in the race? Who knew? Hi, it's Maura from Trifecta and a little bit extra. And worse, my husband put a couple bucks on him to win. And we're talking the Gunrunner, a mile and a 16th on the dirt at the fairgrounds in New Orleans. And we have 5 horses we're going to cover. We're going to cover all 5, starting with a very dangerous horse, the number 1 horse, Built. The number 1 horse is Built, trained by Wayne Catalano and ridden by Corey Lannery, and together they have a 26% win rate. Built has 2 starts with 1 win. He begins his career at Ellis Park in August in a 6-furlong, $71,000 maiden race. Comes in 4th behind East Avenue, but we know how well East Avenue has done since then, winning the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity and then going on to be entered into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Built then goes on to a 7-furlong, $100,000 race at Keeneland. 11-horse field, including the 2-horse in this race, Render Judgment. Super hot pace, going 21 and change for the first quarter and 45 and change for the first half. Built was forwardly placed, stays up near the lead, takes the lead, and wins. Render Judgment comes in 2nd. Built also has a super fast workout on November 4th, going 59 and change for 5 furlongs. Now, he doesn't have the distance like some of the other runners in the field, but he's by Hardspun. And one of Hardspun's top progeny is Two Phils. Two Phils did really well at this track in LeCompte and Risen Star and went on to be 2nd in the 2023 Kentucky Derby. Built's going to have to go because he's coming out of the 1 post, but he really likes the lead, so he will be forwardly placed in this race and is very dangerous. The number 2 horse is Render Judgment, trained by Kenny McPeek and will be ridden by Brian Hernandez Jr., our 2024 winning Kentucky Derby team. Now, Render Judgment began his career against Built in that super hot pace race. He actually rallied from 9th to 2nd, making a very strong move at the end. He then goes on to Churchill Downs to compete in a mile and 16th race and wins that, and I really like that he has won at this distance. Then goes to the G2 Kentucky Jockey Club race right after Thanksgiving, where he came in 5th. So he's had 2 tries at a mile and a 16th, winning 1 of them. I like that a lot. He also has the class of the race, having the G2 experience. Also like that a lot. Like the fact that he's trained by Kenny McPeek and will be ridden by Brian Hernandez Jr. And if Kenny McPeek is bringing him back to a Kentucky Derby points race in just a few weeks' time, that tells me he's got a lot of confidence about this horse. I like this horse to at least hit the board. The number 3 horse is Magnitude, trained by Steve Asmussen and ridden by Jose Ortiz. And together, they have a whopping 40% win rate. Now, Magnitude is by Not This Time, and that's a sire we always want to pay attention to. Not This Time has a 19% win rate for 2-year-olds. Magnitude is the most experienced horse in the field with 4 starts and 2 wins. Breaks his maiden Ellis Park in a 7-furlong race. Sets the pace, wins by 5. Now, many of the horses in that field did improve their speed next time out, but they didn't get to the level that Magnitude reached that day. And Magnitude didn't either in his next race. In fact, he regressed. He goes to the G3 Iroquois at Churchill Downs going a mile distance, weakens and comes in 7th. Then goes to a $127,000 allowance race going a mile and a 16th. Gets to the lead, wins. Now, I like the fact that he has won at this distance, but it seems like he may need to get to the lead to win, and he's gonna have to compete with Built on that. The number 4 horse is Chris's Revenge, trained by Brittany Russell and ridden by Jaime Torres. Now, Chris's Revenge has had 3 starts and 1 win, and that win came in a 6.5 furlong maiden race at Belmont and Aqueduct. Last time out, he was in a mile starter allowance race at Churchill Downs, off the pace and came in 4th. It looks like his speed is a cut below some of the others in the field, but I would never count out Brittany Russell. She's got a 30% win rate for 2-year-old males going dirt routes. And finally, we have our morning line favorite, the number 5 horse, Admiral Dennis, trained by Brad Cox and ridden by Luis Saez. Now let's talk a second about Brad Cox at the fairgrounds. 28% win rate, goes up to 33% for 2-year-old males, something you're going to want to pay attention to. Also, he's by constitution. Love the breeding for this distance. 2 starts, 1 win and 1 show. The show came in the first race, nowhere to run that day. The last race, the last time we saw him, mile race, $120,000 at Churchill Downs, was driving at the end and won by over 3. Given that race, the fact he has Brad Cox and he's by constitution, really love his chances in the race. That's a wrap on the 5 horses and the Kentucky Derby points race this year. As always, I give you the stats, you make the picks. I hope you find some winners on Saturday's card and sashay away with your money. If you like my channel, like, subscribe, comment. Happy holidays to all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful new year. Cheers. Hello, can you put your butt down?